Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS. Fans, brews, and Broncos news. Good evening, Broncos country, and welcome to another edition of Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS. Guys, we got the schedule breakdown show for you guys tonight. I know it's been out for almost a week, and you've had a ton of time to look at it, break it down here. A lot of other people break it down, but we are going to be able to talk with you tonight, hear what you guys think, and see where we end up at the end of it all, and get our season predictions out there. So it's going to be fun, some fun stuff. Of course, I am Jared's assistant to the boss, and we got Jared here, CEO of Awesome. Jared, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing well. How are you guys doing? You guys doing all right? What?
Missed opportunity to say you're doing awesome, but fine. It's whatever. I'm not here to tell you how to do your job. You're the CEO.
I kind of set you up there, man.
Yeah.
Here's the problem, David. It's a slow burn. It'll get there. It'll get there. All right.
It seems decidedly unawesome, but again, I'm not the CEO. You got to do your thing.
Okay. Is that better? Is that all right? That's
it. David, captain of Team Puffball. What's up, buddy?
Damn right. Here representing Team Puffball as we do every single time that I'm on the show, and happy to see everybody here to talk schedule release.
Yeah.
No, this is going to be a fun one. Because obviously Broncos sitting at 9.5 wins projected, so much better than the 4.5 last year. So be a little bit more of a fun show than it was last year. Adam, the babyface assassin, what's up, buddy?
I'm good, Kevdan. I mean, how is everybody doing tonight? I'm ready to talk some hypothetical situations and say how we're going to crush all of them. So there we go.
There you go.
Yep, we are on course, actually, believe it or not, for a 17-0 season, the way it stands right now. So I'm just saying.
Right. That's about right.
But hey, guys, as we go through this, go ahead and share your thoughts on what's going to happen for these games. So we got 17 games to go through, so we are not going to spend too much time on any of them. But let's get into it. We got Week 1, Titans at Broncos, guys. Looking at the schedule here, home game. After starting on the road last year, this will be pretty fantastic. Do we really need to, is anyone dissenting from a win here in Week 1?
No, but it's going to be interesting, right? Man, I was circling this game to go to as maybe one of the ones I would go to this year because I felt like half-price tickets would be really easy to get. However, with it being opening week, that's going to be a little bit of something different. I also feel like we haven't opened the season at home in a couple of years, so it's nice to have that home opener be in Week 1 this season. And, I don't know if it's going to be the hardest team we face on the schedule this year, but it should be fun to see Cam Ward, #1 overall pick in the draft, against this defense and see how that works out. Right, guys?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm most looking forward to this game in general is what a tough time to be Cam Ward right now. You're talking about going in against what's projected to be at least a top 5, if not the #1 defense in the league this year. And you're talking first game of the season. That's a tough pull for him. And it's in Denver. So you're talking an away game against the toughest defense in the league. That it's going to be tough for him. And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. It's also a good warm up. The whole longest yard concept.
Yes.
You play, you play kind of a lower team, a Division II, Division 1A college team to kind of get your excitement out, get the yips out a little bit, and then going into the rest of the season because we're going to need it, and we'll talk about it in a second. A little bit, a few weeks later. So,
yeah.
I mean, that was my thought too. Was hearing the line from Adam Sandler in The Longest Yard, where he's like, need a tune-up game, and they're all professionals, yada yada yada. We hear all the cliches, but this definitely smacks of tune-up game for a little bit. Yes, there is some excitement with Cam Ward if you're a Cam Ward fan, I guess, or if you're a Titans fan. But no, this Mile High is going to be rocking. It's going to be it was going to be a tough place for Ward to play on his first start on the road. Now you're facing Denver, up and coming team. I wish I could say. I mean, anything can happen. They are professionals. However, it would kind of be one of those like fluky things if something like that happened. And I don't really see Denver having too many issues with the Titans.
Love it. Look, guys.
And as we get into this next game against the Colts too, my overarching thing is going to be, can Bo Nix start fast? Because we all remember last year with that very, very slow start, and then he obviously he really grew and learned some things as the season went along, and became one of the better top half of the league quarterbacks at the very least. So is he going to be able to carry over that success from the late season right away, or is there a little bit of a getting back up to speed period for him?
Yeah, and in general, I think Ken's right here. The only thing scary about week one is that it's week one. And
Exactly.
there's a lot of, like I said, you got to get the yips out. You got to get the penalties. You got to get the dumb stuff that you try to get out in preseason, but you're not playing your full starters all the time. The missed timings, the missed call, whatever the case is, you got to get those out. And I think this is a good starting to. We got to remember, Bo Nix was a rookie last year. He was not supposed to be like when we drafted him. I guess we expected him to be a starter, but he wasn't. Coming into he's not Cam Ward. He's not the guy that got drafted to start day one and just change a culture of a team. We got him. We were excited. He did really well in preseason. We got him as be our starter, and it worked out well for us. I think it's a different mindset now going into this for Bo Nix.
Yep. Completely agree, guys. So, let's look at it. We're expecting a week one win. It might be a game that the defense wins for the Broncos, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a W there. So moving on to week two, guys, we got the Broncos on the road to the Colts, and we're talking about tune-up games. Obviously, I don't think this is as much a tune-up game as the first week is. But when you're looking at maybe an easier team to take in week two, somebody that is not a huge threat, I think this is a good matchup here. So Broncos first road game of the season, working out some of those kinks. Again, I think the defense is going to hold true here, and we're going to walk away 2-0 on the season. Jared?
Yeah. Go ahead, Jared.
This is definitely not as much of an auto win, right? Anthony Richardson is somebody that can really take over a game, and that's hard. Obviously, our defense is what it is, and we have a lot of new players in the defense, and I think that we can hold them if we play a consistent football game. But this is going to be one of those. This is probably going to be the first game where we're like, oh crap, what team are we getting? I think we'll be okay week one. I think week two we're going to be like, man, why is this so close? And really it's because Anthony Richardson. I have a lot of respect for Anthony Richardson as a quarterback, and I think he could do a lot of really good things and take over the game. And I think this might be his year, and it might be starting against the Broncos. Now, I'm not saying we're going to lose, but I'm saying this isn't an easy, like, absolutely we're going to win this game. I think it's going to be a tougher game.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
You know what? I got to disagree on Anthony Richardson. Just from the little that I've seen of him in the game last season, seeing him get benched in the middle of the season. Yes, he does have the physical ability that you any coach thinks that they can bring up as long as they teach him how to play the position. The only problem with that is that his brain isn't just football concepts like throwing to the right receivers and not just tucking it and run. Didn't seem to really present itself a whole lot last season. Now they do have weapons. Michael Pittman, solid borderline number one receiver. You got Taylor in the backfield. If he gets going, it's still going to be one of those earlier type of games where it's going to be probably more of a defensive mindset and a defensive type of game. And I mean, I think we're going to win those 9 times out of 10 based on who we have, based on who they have. So obviously going on the road in the NFL is always a challenge. I don't know that I necessarily see the same risks in facing Anthony Richardson this season.
Yeah. And David, good comments here from the guys. No heart and looking at our defense again.
Well, and here's the thing about Anthony Richardson for me, guys, is that they paid Daniel Jones $14 million to be Anthony Richardson's backup this year. And that to me means they expect Daniel Jones to start at least a game. So I am not entirely convinced that that Richardson is going to be the starter at all for this game, but they at least with that contract, Jared, to Daniel Jones, they're telling me and telling Anthony Richardson, you're on notice. Like, you've got to show it this year.
Opposite. Why was it that Anthony Richardson didn't play half the season last year? Because he got benched?
Yeah.
Because he got hurt?
Man.
Yeah, he got benched and he got hurt. Both of those things happened, Jared. Remember when he took himself out of a game? And then
when he took himself out of the game.
Yeah.
I remember when he took himself out of the game, but he was also hurt. And he's injury prone. The reason you pay a big backup number is because you have a guy that's injury prone. That dude is an athlete, and I'm telling you, he's probably going to get hurt. Right? You pay a big backup, but it's not because of lack of heart. It's not because he sucks, because he can't find where. Michael Pittman had the most yards in Indy. And most of them were thrown by Anthony Richardson. It wasn't Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, but Anthony Richardson is the most erratic thrower of the football in the entire NFL.
Oh yeah,
and Jared, to your point, he is and can be a special talent, especially running the football. He's got, but that's one of the reasons he gets so injured. He's got a running back's body and size at the quarterback position. The problem is his body doesn't hold up under contact like a running back.
Right.
But I disagree with your point that they paid Daniel Jones $14 million because they knew he was going to have to play. You can pay anybody to be a backup quarterback and say, all right, we know our quarterback's going to get injured this year. Just bring back Joe Flacco if you're worried about the injury guarantee. To me, the money they paid to Daniel Jones says, we're going to maybe give you a chance to compete for the starting position. And I don't necessarily see that job being all sewn up going into training camp for Richardson.
I just want to make it clear. I'm not saying that Anthony Richardson is the next Pat Mahomes, right? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is when he's in the game, he is a threat, and he's the guy that can take over the game. I'm not saying he's getting 10 wins either. I'm saying one game he's going to throw for 4 touchdowns and run for 200 yards, and then the next game he's going to throw for 5 interceptions and lose the ball 3 times. So I know how erratic he is. I'm not saying he's a great player, but I'm saying he's a player that can take over the game if needed to. And early in the season, those are the times that normally happens.
Okay. All right.
Here's what I will say about Anthony Richardson. Because of the physical, he can be in those situations where you think you have him dead to rights, and he makes pulls something out of nowhere, makes a throw, and I will grant you he has that kind of capability in him, and I don't know that maybe there are 5 other guys physically that can do that. However, the position is more than that. And we saw in the game last season when he had to win a game throwing the ball, then it just went, that game plan went completely out the window.
Yeah, agreed. And we're probably going to play this it's going to be ball control. We're going to try to keep the ball in our hands at all times. And I get that. But also, David, to your point, if it is Daniel Jones starting it, put a W in the win column. Let's move on.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Spicy on the
We are going to have to pick
season.
this up. We got 15 games left, guys. We might have to pick this up just a little bit.
We'll be fine.
Yeah. We'll double up the analysis for the division games. It'll be great.
There you go. Brad, yes, you're right. The next time we play the Browns, we'll have that full-on discussion, bud. But we're just lucky this year. We didn't have to worry about Jerry Jeudy. Okay, moving on to game 3, guys. First game of a tough gauntlet here. 3-game stretch. First real test of the season on the road against the Chargers. Now, I will say that I personally like this harder stretch at the beginning of the season. We're healthier. We're more energized, more fresh. And then take this Chargers team on the road week 1. I think this is a game that we can walk away with a win with. But what do you guys think?
Oh, for sure. We played the Chargers tough in both games. I know a little bit more in that second game of the season when we were up on them 3 scores or something before we let them come back. But I think you're going to look, we'll talk about RJ Harvey as the season gets closer. Jared and I have already had disagreements about this a little bit, but I think we're going to see a much more consistent run game overall this year than we had last year. And I know that it was boom or bust, especially that Chargers game was a microcosm, right? Like the run game seemed like it could do no wrong to start that game, and we got up so early on them. And then it seemed like when they shut that down, the entire rest of the offense kind of went with it. So I think it's going to be a little bit more consistent this year, and I think it's going to give us a good chance to win division road games like this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Chargers game, I mean, the divisional games are always tough. And we'll get to the Raiders game here in a little bit. As bad as the Raiders may be, even though they got a really good running back now, these games are always going to be tough. Early in the season, a divisional game is going to be very difficult. And the Chargers are on the up and up. Like, they made the playoffs last year. They beat us. You know, they got second division. And yeah, one free kick later, we're losing the game that we should have won. So anything can happen in this game. And yeah, it's tough sledding. And this one's going to be kind of a bend and break for the first quarter of the season. Because yes, I think we win the first two, and then when we go into the rest of this 3-game stretch, it's going to be difficult if we lose this one.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you need to start your season off on the right foot, and to go 3-0 with a divisional win already under your belt is a huge difference than 2-1 with a divisional loss already in the column. So definitely, I think a very big game at the beginning of the season. Not something we couldn't overcome later on, but you want to keep the train on the tracks, right? Especially when you got the next couple opponents. So let's move on back home to the Bengals coming back and rematch from the game last year. Maybe we'll go in overtime again. We'll see. But this is a game where the Broncos are going to be looking for some payback, right? Bengals are going to be the Bengals. They're going to be a challenge, and it's going to be even more of a challenge than the week before. But we are at home, which is, I think, personally, maybe I'm wearing my blue and orange goggles. I don't know, but I think this is a game that we can win, especially with the motivation from wanting to beat them after what happened last year.
Yeah, I think the cool part about this for me is you are. When I first saw the night games being advertised, like I was like, Monday night against the Bengals. Like, interesting that they put the Broncos on a Monday night against the Bengals. Like, I get the Bengals, and I get, like, obviously there's a lot more hype around the Broncos this year, but I was like, man, why that game? I swear to you, the next game, you know, Google's listening to me. I swear the next day I'm looking at my Facebook or Instagram or MySpace feed, and my MySpace feed had this video from NFL, and it was like, remember the last time the Broncos played the Bengals and that thriller? And I was like, man, I do remember that. I was trashed. And we lost it, right? And we lost it. But the thing with that was, like, there was, like, really, we played terribly most of the game until the very end, and we had a couple very kind of lucky and great catches by Marvin Mims towards the end of the game, and it was a thriller. So they're trying to recreate that in this game. That's why I was like, okay, I see that. But they were advertising this game right off the bat to try to get excitement for this game.
Yeah,
and go ahead, Adam.
It's quarterback-driven league, so you have up-and-comer Bo Nix versus probably one of, if not the best quarterback in the game right now in Joe Burrow. So, yeah, I mean, that sells itself. Plus, you do have the built-in drama from the last game, I mean, honestly, from last season, I felt we kind of gave that one away a little bit. I know that from what you're saying, Jared, that there were some great individual plays. But to see Sean Payton kind of maybe take his foot off the gas a little bit in the last possession of the game and the first possession of overtime where we forced a punt. So,
yeah.
And guys, this is going to be one of those early season tests that I love, because this is the kind of game that you have to win if you're going to be that team that takes a step forward this year. Like, it's great to go to the playoffs and in a wild card game, and then you lose 30-7 or whatever it was. And so now you have to kind of show yourself that show everybody that you're on that trajectory in the murderer's row of the AFC, that you are one of those teams, that you are a team to be reckoned with, that you are ready to make some noise when it comes to playoff time, because you can beat teams like Cincinnati when they come to your house, especially after that game, how that game ended last year.
I will say playing the Bengals in Cincinnati is a little different than playing the Bengals in December in Cincinnati. Not to say that they're not a tough team. We're recognizing that. But look, again, this is where I'm walking away saying best possible outcome for the Broncos up into this point, and we're sitting at 4-0, guys. Maybe worst case 3-1, but if you can walk away at least 3-1 from this, I think you're looking pretty good for the first month, where Sean Payton historically in September is not that good. So keep that.
So another historic piece. You guys might know this because I don't know it off the top of my head. What is how many night games did we have last week or last year?
What?
3 or 4?
Los Angeles, the Bengals,
Browns. And I think the only game we won in those night games was the Browns, right?
Yeah, and even that was a dogfight.
And that was a thriller. I mean, that was a Jameis Winston game for sure. But
definitely not Jerry Jeudy, not him.
Yeah, so
not him.
I mean, what Jameis threw for 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions or something like that. So another piece. This is going to be, and I think a lot of talk around the league, especially, is going to be how is Bo Nix going to take the nighttime games and going under 500 last year, going into this year we have 4 or 5 as well. So I think we have 4 this year, right? So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see the talk about Bo Nix and can he do it under the lights? Can he do it in the prime time?
Yep. Okay, guys. So where we are, 3-1, 4-0 at this point. Either way, we're going on the road next to Philadelphia. Oof. And while I think this will be a well-fought game, maybe something similar to what we saw against Baltimore, we're at least at the beginning, we really held with them. I think this is a game where it's just going to get away from us. And one of those things where, look, you're going second-year rebuild team versus the Super Bowl champions. Easy as that. The Eagles just extended their head coach. So, they're all in on that. Like, there's consistency, there's focus, there's all this, there's motivation. So at this point, we're looking at a loss.
I don't know. I'm eager to see that Eagles defensive line against the Broncos offensive line, because I think that the matchup on the other side of the ball, the Broncos defense versus the Eagles offense, is decent. I mean, there's the Saquon Barkley of it all. And that's, but other than that, I think that that's a really decent matchup for us on that side of the ball. It may well come down to whether that deep Philadelphia defensive line can stack up against this offensive line, or if we can kind of hold them back.
Yeah.
I swore, Dave, I thought you were going to mention RJ Harvey one more time. I really did. I thought you were going to try to mention him every time. Like, well, now that our run game is going to be established and RJ Harvey is going to run for 200 yards on him, I think we got this game. But I'm glad you didn't go there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm getting you an RJ Harvey jersey, Jared. Like, night.
Hey,
get him the 37 one. Do it before.
Man.
Yeah, do it before he changes his jersey number in training camp. Make Jared wear that 37. That horrible look.
Well, he still has that Javonte Williams one for some reason. I mean, so we got to upgrade.
I guess
him.
If you love the Dallas Cowboys.
Why do I do these shows with you?
Because you love us. Because you love us. Hey guys, I know there's some comments coming in here. And Adam, I want to bring this up to you because James has a good comment here. Ingram will be a big factor in the games if he stays healthy. So one of the things here, it could come into play, especially against the Chargers, Bengals, Eagles, these 3 big gauntlet games for us.
Absolutely. One of the things that you saw a bit last season, especially with the youth opposite Courtland Sutton and not really having that intermediate passing threat, was a thing that defenses could kind of squat on a little bit. So having that intermediate threat that Ingram is, not that, I mean, I like RJ Harvey. I don't know that I have David's a
fan. Go ahead, call it what it is.
Passionate. I don't know that I have David's passionate about it, but I don't know that that's necessarily. I don't even know that that's a Baltimore game or a Buffalo game where the talent level was just apparent. If the addition of Jahdae Barron and Hufanga in the back end can kind of solidify where you can defend the run and stay in nickel, I don't know that we don't. I mean, it's going to be a tough game regardless, but I don't know that they pull away from us. And again, I'm a homer to the end of it, but I think that that's a game that we can pull out. I'm not saying we will, but I think we can.
Yeah. Anything else, guys?
Obsession seems a little strong. I've brought him up
once. I was waiting for it.
once in the podcast so far. So before because we're already 25 minutes into the show and we're on week 5. But let's bounce right into it, guys. Let's go across the pond.
I love it.
From one big green team to another big green team. Denver Broncos at New York Jets, and this is crucial, guys. The Broncos did not give away a home game to play in London this year, so that's not so bad. But bright and early, 7:30 a.m. in Broncos country. That game will start.
Pre-game talk or tailgate talk starts at 6:30 a.m. Guys, get ready for it.
6:30, and
I'll be on time. It'll be my time, so we'll be good.
Jared, it'll be prime time game for Jared.
It'll be prime time for me. It'll be perfect.
Yep. And Kev, you threw up that W. I don't know that there's any more left to say. Justin Fields, that Jets offense with Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, they've got a couple of weapons, I guess. But again, this is kind of a lot of the same players that we faced last year in New Jersey, and we know how that game ended.
Yeah, very well for us.
Yeah, well, 10-9, so well enough.
Shout out to Ken, man. Make sure you represent. Tell everybody about us. Make sure you get us some followers while you're out there, bud.
Man.
We actually, for nothing, we got quite a few UK followers, so I'll keep that. Give us some more. That'd be great. Yeah,
we do.
Absolutely.
We do. Okay, let's keep it moving. Adam, we'll start with you on this next one. Again, I think this kind of a brief from the gauntlet we had. All the traveling, these tough teams. New York Giants at home in Denver. Definitely not a team that I'm necessarily worried about, but could be a trap game potentially. So as long as the Broncos come out there and take care of business, this is a game that they should be able to walk away with a win, no problem.
Yeah, I would be of the mind of that too. That it has the kind of feel of a trap game, especially not having the bye week after the overseas game, which I know that was explained. Why didn't we get the bye right after the international game?
I feel like the answer to that question was a basic PR answer that amounted to, well, we did the research and a bye doesn't really make a difference. So, yeah.
And also, there's with as many overseas games as there are, you'd have to give all the and spread out throughout. It's just I'm not mad about it. I'm glad that we got the Giants after.
Just like if it was the Eagles after, that'd be a problem. But Giants at home,
right?
Okay.
Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Well, or our revenge game, another revenge possibility against Russell Wilson.
Jackson Dart.
Is Russell Wilson starting for the Giants by week 7? Yeah, exactly, David. It's like
quarterback room for the Giants right now: Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Tommy DeVito, and Jackson Dart.
Ooh. I think that he's gonna earn the nickname Tommy Cutlets for a new reason this offseason, guys.
That sounds like a really bad joke. Like Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, and Jameis Winston walk into a bar. And
it's an SNL skit for sure.
For sure. I love it. All right. So I think we're looking at maybe 1, if not 2 losses at this point, guys, and we're staying at home. Having these early road games in the season is definitely going to help out, especially at this point in the season moving forward, or mostly at home, and that's going to be huge. But this next one is coming back. He's coming to town, Jared. Are you going to be there? Javonte Williams.
I'm actually trying. If I'm back in the States, then I'm definitely going to try to make that game. Not for Javonte Williams in general, but that's a game that I'm pretty intrigued on. And I think this is going to be a tough game. I think the Cowboys are a tougher team than people give them credit for. They have a pretty decent, solid offensive line, and I think they can if everyone stays healthy, they can establish a good offense. Defensively, they're boom or bust. They're either giving up 4 touchdowns or not giving up any. So this is going to be an interesting game, especially for Bo Nix, a challenge for him going into this game. And I think with what he got last year and what we saw towards the end of last season, and now we're talking week 8 weeks in, I think he has his groove back, and I think this is the game we take home.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what the Cowboys roll out as far as offense, right? And specifically offensive scheme with Brian Schottenheimer, first-year head coach, going in there, and a guy who, when the hire was announced, it was very much a kind of a typical Jerry Jones. This is the brand. This is the Cowboys. We do everything right. and you hired Brian Schottenheimer as your head coach after looking at no other candidates. So, yeah, it's going to be by then. You said it, Jared. It's week 8, so we should hopefully have a really decent idea of what the Cowboys are by then. And so, yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see that one.
Adam, what do you think?
For what RJ Harvey is to David, Javonte Williams was to me way back when. So
thank you.
Yeah, way back when. Way back when, Jared.
But I don't know. Dallas seems like kind of like a motley crew right now, and they're going to be in that first transitional year of a new head coach. So I don't know that this isn't a game. I mean, if you like seeing Cowboys fans kind of melt down, that would be kind of a fun time. I don't see this as being anything more than a perfunctory win at this point against Dallas.
No. Well, look, guys, this is it's going to be a really fun one. And again, I wish the best of luck to Javonte Williams. I hope he comes back this year and looks really good. Not plays too well against us specifically, but in general, and that's going to be a fun one for sure. It's going to be packed. We know Dallas fans travel well. They're kind of just, you can't get rid of them. It doesn't matter how bad their record is. They're still there. And I will say when we played the Cowboys last down in Dallas, and we beat them with Teddy Bridgewater. Obviously that was a few years ago, but this is going to be a fun game. But let's get over into week 9, guys. We're halfway through the season, and I just got to say, we've talked about beating the Bengals and the Chargers at this point. People are thinking, not to get ahead of ourselves, but the Chiefs and the Commanders are looking at saying the Broncos are going to win against these guys. But for some reason, if you guys have seen any of these schedule prediction videos, it seems like there's a common theme that people think the Broncos have no chance against the Texans. Most people are putting an L in that column against the Texans, and I just don't understand it. That is a game that the Broncos, it'll be tough because, yeah, they're a good team. They've won some playoff games last couple of years, but if you're telling me that there's no chance the Broncos can beat the Texans, that's just ridiculous to me.
Look, there could be a number of outcomes here. Statistical probabilities are what they are. But the Houston Texans basically remade an entire offensive line this last year with players who I don't think were remarkably better than the players that they had last year when it was a huge problem. Not to mention they traded away the best piece on that offensive line because I don't know what's going on in the Texans locker room, but I think that Broncos defensive front against the Texans offensive line, that could be a game wrecker right there.
It could be.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know why this isn't like, I feel like this is a 50-50 game. I don't think this is a guaranteed win for us, but I also don't think that, CJ Stroud had his strides, right? And he's doing better as a quarterback, but in general, I just don't see their team being that much better. Like I said, like David said, than they were last year. And now they're not a bad team. They're not the Titans, right? They're not the Colts, but I'm definitely not absolutely they're going to take it all. Are they going to win the AFC South? Probably. Look who else is there. Right. But other than that, I don't think they match up against the rest of the league. Yeah.
For sure.
I think. Maybe you're expecting CJ Stroud to kind of take that bounce back from the sophomore slump to kind of take that next step where some quarterbacks do have that. Obviously, they have good weapons down there. Again, I don't know, to look at this as just we're going to go down there and take our L and come home. That it is a very weird kind of national perception of how the game is going to unfold. Where we've improved the roster on just the things that we needed to bring up. We did that this offseason, so it's kind of it is a paper on paper matchup at this point. But I don't know that if you look at what they're putting on paper is so much better than what we're putting on paper right now either.
Yeah.
Right. They did the Bengals thought process was let's give them a bunch of weapons. But let's give them very minimal to protect them. And kind of David already mentioned the offensive line situation. But yeah, their wide receivers are great. You got Braxton Berrios, Tank Dell. They got Christian Kirk. They have good weapons in the wide receiver room, but we also have, as we're going to say it over and over again, one of the best backfields in the NFL, and we have one of the best secondaries in the NFL. So I don't think this matchup really matches well for them. If anything, I think this definitely matches in our favor with the defense that we have in their favor. So yeah, I'm definitely maybe a homer take, but on paper it actually looks more in the favor of the Broncos.
Yeah. So I like that, 50-50. If the Broncos go out there, have a really good game, maybe get the ball, tipped in their direction a couple times, that's a game they could very easily win. I think what Jose here says is 90% chance Broncos win there. I like that. Ken says that the Texans are his trap game, especially coming off a Cowboys win. And then what you got to take into account is the week after that is our first Thursday night game of the season at home against the Raiders in week 10. So one of those games, young team, you got to keep them focused, because if they're looking ahead to the Raiders, big divisional game the week after that, that could be a game where they go into the Texans stadium and they're just not there mentally. You know what I mean?
Well, and this is kind of what I'll say too. And Sean Payton said it in one of the pressers, I think last year, and it really kind of stuck with me, and you kind of forget about these things. But like, you have a 17-game season, you can't have as much attention to every single game. There's going to be games you give less attention to, and that may be one of them as we get ready for the Raiders, a divisional game, and coming off of a Cowboys game, which we're going to have to give attention to at home. It may be one of those, like, maybe we just don't spend as much time. And again, we match up better. So I think that in general, if you're looking at this as a whole, we match up better against them. So we probably don't need to spend as much time game planning against them. But I definitely don't think this is a loss. I do think this is going to be an interesting game, and we may not put as much pressure to it. But I think we match up so well that I don't think that's going to matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, guys.
And throw up Donald's comment really quick here.
Yeah.
Because I want to address this really quick, because I think he's asking if Von Miller is going to be coming back. And no, guys, I know Von Miller is a free agent now. The story would be great to have him back in a Broncos uniform. I think he's going to do that one-day contract thing when he's ready to retire. But at this point, I got 2 words for Von Miller: progress stopper. You're not going to want to put him out there in front of Ellis. You're not going to want to put him out there in front of Cooper or Benito. You're not going to want to put him out there in front of Dondre Tillman, or maybe not even Q Robinson this year. I don't know. So, guys, there's just not, I don't think, any room for Von Miller in this pass rush rotation right now. And just the way he's played the last few years, what he's shown on the field, I don't think you can make any real argument for putting him back on the field. No. Yeah.
When Mike McGlinchey is blocking you one-on-one, it's not. And I say this as lovingly as possible because I love Von Miller. We don't win Super Bowl 50 without Von Miller. Von Miller is probably on the Mount Rushmore of the franchise. But to everything David said, 1,000% correct. And at this point, he's not the veteran presence in the locker room. He's not going to be that guy. He's just a guy right now. That's why he's on the street right now. And I don't say that like with any kind of like joy or anything, but it's not the right time right now. If this were a different team, sure. Where we're at right now, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I want to see him, and I think this is probably what's going to end up happening because he loves Denver a lot. He's going to move back.
Yeah.
He's going to come back. He's going to do his one-day contract. He's going to retire Bronco, and he probably might help with the coaching staff, which I would be absolutely happy if he comes out and helps some of these young guys learn how to do, some of the moves that he got to do back when he had the athletic ability to. It's just age happens, and it's hard to admit that sometimes and let him and his family come to that decision on his own. And then when that happens, I would love to see him back in the Broncos polo. That'd be great.
Yeah. Father Time is undefeated for a reason. So
yeah.
Sorry.
Yep. Let's see, guys. Got 2 games left before our bye week. Raiders and Kansas City both at home. So huge opportunities for the Broncos to get some solid divisional wins under their belt. That Raiders on a Thursday night game, I am okay with that, especially being in Denver. It seems like it's been a while since we've had a Thursday night game at home. So it's like we're always traveling on Thursday nights, except this time we'll be in Denver and against the Raiders in front of that home crowd. And I'm probably guessing throwback jerseys too, especially being on Thursday night.
And I think you get
It's
to wear
gonna
them
look sick.
one more time this year too. I think you get
3
to
times?
wear. Yeah. Now I personally, and I don't know about you guys, we'll get to this when we talk about the Chiefs game on Christmas. I'm hoping for a little bit of a different combination there that might take up one of those slots. But yeah, I can totally see this being a throwback game. And we should talk about Geno Smith, because I think there was a little bit of a discourse around Geno Smith on Twitter today, Broncos Twitter. Geno Smith is not a terrible quarterback. Geno Smith is probably the best quarterback the Raiders have had in, I don't know, since Derek Carr, and
At least,
4 or 5 seasons back for when Derek Carr was a Raider too. He was one of the worst red zone quarterbacks in the NFL last year, and that was really weird. But between the 20s, the man can sling it. And we saw that with the Seahawks game. He threw that interception in that game, and we played them close. But he was able to pull that team to victory. We definitely shouldn't be underestimating the Raiders this year.
No, John T, at this point, we'll have an idea of what John T is in the NFL, and I think he's going to be an absolute stud. I think that's why they drafted him where they did. And I think that offense is going to be firing on as many cylinders as they possibly can. And I think Geno Smith having a strong running back is going to be in his favor to be able to open up the pass game. And he's just a smart quarterback. And so that's really why they kept him over Russell Wilson back in the day. And that's why we got Russell Wilson in the first place. They saw that he was a smart guy. He could make the call. He could make the throws. And he can make the decisions. So that's exactly what the Raiders needed. And I hate saying the Raiders did something good for their team, but they did. And it'll be interesting. And by week 10, hopefully at this point, we'll have a better idea of where the AFC West is stacking up. I can see us all being very equal at this point coming into week 10. So these 2 games back-to-back divisional games in the middle of the season, it's going to be crucial as we look towards the end of the season. Going into, who's going to win the division. I think this is really where it's going to come down to.
Yeah. I don't know that I can speak that glowingly about the Raiders. And it's not even just because I'm a Broncos fan. I think it's, I think it's the same situation with the Cowboys. This is going to be a transitional year where it's going to be a new system, new players. Geno Smith is fine. I don't know that I would put him as good. I wouldn't put him as bad.
Functional.
He's fine. He's functional. He is the vanilla ice cream of quarterbacks. It's not bad. It doesn't, always blow your skirt up, but it is. And Genty, those are like the 2 guys. Everything else is like,
that defense is cheeks. That defense is still
Thank
booty.
you.
Okay, that's just God.
Thank you. So, could they be marginally better? They would be marginally better because Geno Smith is a marginally better quarterback. Is he anything other than marginally good, though?
I feel like Geno Smith is a starter on over half the NFL teams right now.
Agreed.
But quarterbacking there's a dearth of quarterbacking. That's like, if you're a top 15 guy, people can't find top 15 guys, but that doesn't necessarily, raise the boat on the talent level of the team. Geno Smith is just a guy. He's always been just a guy.
I think he leads them to 9 wins this year. I get where you're coming from, Adam, but I think I have to disagree with you on this. I think Geno is a little bit better than just a guy. But I think this defense is certainly capable of making him look like just a guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so, guys, as we bounce into a team with a quarterback who's not just a guy, and Adam, I'll throw this one to you first. Patrick Mahomes, Denver Broncos. There's not going to be any talk about how the Chiefs rested their starters. It doesn't really matter. The game doesn't count. This one's in Denver. This one's going to count. How are you feeling about this one?
These are the games where I wish I could strap up and just like throw a helmet on and some pads. For me, I really felt like Denver wanted that Kansas City game at the end of the year last year to mean a little bit more than what it did. I think the beatdown that they got was kind of like some frustration being let out about the previous game. Sure. This seems like a very it seems like a passing of the torch game to me anyway. This is the you used to be the bully on the block for the longest time, and you've had your time in the sun, and now it's time to the young lion's coming, and so if we go out and win this game, which I think we definitely can, I think this can be a sign of that, new sheriff in town.
Yeah. Well, you keep in mind, obviously, a little mini bye week there. But then also you got to think about, like, I don't see the Chargers beating the Chiefs. I just don't. Like, will it be a close game? Sure. But I don't see the Chargers beating the Chiefs. I see the Broncos beating the Chiefs. Taking my blue and orange goggles off, I see that happening. And this is a game that could make or break the season. This is going to be a game that, do we take the AFC West, or do we, fight for a wild card slot again, and hope that we get in. But we got the opportunity here. 2 home games in a row, mini bye. Yeah, the Chiefs are coming off a bye before this game, but we can take advantage of that going into our bye. We're going to be sitting pretty heading into the end of November.
Yeah,
I'm going to play a little Jekyll and Hyde here, and I think if I take the blue and orange goggles off, Adam, you mentioned the passing of the torch. I'd say national media thinks the passing of the torch is going to the Chargers, right? And whether that be because they're in LA or because, like, there's a lot of factors there, right? They have a better coaching, like their coaching staff kind of got their feet underneath them.
Everybody loves Justin Herbert. Everybody
loves Justin Herbert, right? And everybody wants, like, the passing of the torch, they're saying, in the AFC is going to the Chargers. And not for nothing, they beat us out last year. Right? They were second in the AFC West last year. And so yeah, and they beat us twice. So this is a hard one. And yes, one blocked field goal away from beating them twice, beating the Kansas City Chiefs twice. Now I'm putting the orange and blue goggles back on. I also think that the Kansas City Chiefs luck's got to run out sometime. And I thought it was going to be last year, and it wasn't. And it was the opposite. Like, got more lucky, right? In a lot of ways. So I really was thinking that, like, not hopefully, but in general, I think their luck's going to run out, and they got to play legitimate, like, stand-up football. And because what we've seen the last couple of years has not been stand-up football. Again, orange and blue goggles on. So I think if they have to play stand-up football, we win this game. We win this game in Denver with the extra time. And if we win this game, and I think that means that in Kansas City on Christmas, which we'll get to, that's another winnable game. This is going to be a lot tougher. I think this is the game that we're going to need to win, because Kansas City on Christmas is going to be a tough slog.
That's going to be a game.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, guys, let's move on into our bye, and we'll have a bye week question here. Jose has asked a couple times really quickly. No, Aaron Rodgers is not coming to the Broncos. That's not going to happen. But anyway, week 12 bye. I'm happy with where it is. I'd rather it then versus right after week 6 when we play the Jets, especially if we're looking at a playoff push, right? This is a decent time to do it.
Yeah.
So
for sure. Rather have that bye a little later than a little earlier.
Right.
So let's keep moving on past that. Afterwards, we got the Commanders. Now, a lot of people are saying the Commanders game, the Broncos could win. I'm thinking, I don't know. I mean, we're coming off our bye week, so yeah, we have extra time to prepare and rest and everything. But if it was in Denver, I would say, yeah, probably. But being on the road, I just don't know. I just don't see that one being maybe if everything goes our way, we could win, but we'd have to play a really good game. Commanders probably have to make several mistakes.
Yeah, I see this game going 3 ways, and the 3 ways is kind of
win, lose, or tie.
Yeah, win, lose, or tie. No, so the first way is, and we're talking about week 13. The 2 quarterbacks that really stood out, other than the Patriots quarterback, who everyone was saying did great, did not. Second-year quarterbacks, right? And you're talking about Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, right? The 2 top off rookie quarterbacks of last year. Are one of them going to have a sophomore slump? That's really what this game is going to be about. Obviously, we don't want that to be the Broncos. We don't want that to be Bo Nix, and I don't think it will be. But I also don't think it will be for Jaden Daniels. I think he showed enough, even into the playoffs, that he has what it takes to be a starter in this league. I would love it to be in the one way where both of these quarterbacks are second year, and these are the future of the NFL. Yeah. Right now, these are young quarterbacks are the future of the NFL, and this is going to be one of those games. It's like you're watching the future Pat Mahomes versus Josh Allen game. Or one of them has a sophomore slump, and you're talking like, well, we know who the better quarterback was in the draft, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't want that either. And then the other one is they both suck. And that's the third way. They both suck, and this is one of those games that we're like, oh, these two quarterbacks sucked, and that draft class was terrible. I don't think it's going to be that one. I really hope it's the first one. I think they both have great – and I really want this. I hope well for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. I hope they do well, and I hope at this point in the season this is a meaningful game, because now you're talking about two of the quarterbacks that are probably going to be going slog for slog going into the future, and that's what I really want out of this, and I want to see this game happen so bad, and with our new and improved defense, see if we can stop a guy like Jaden Daniels in a game that's going to matter, and I think this game's going to matter probably of all of our non-divisional games. This is going to be one of the top games that's going to matter the most.
I'm really interested this is a hypothetical that obviously we'll never see, but I'd be really interested to see what the Commanders' record would have been last year if they were an AFC team instead of an NFC team. Because, man, that conference is not – it's just not loaded the same way.
Yeah.
Especially with quarterback talent. And, frankly, that Commanders' defense was only average last year, despite, the Dan Quinn of it all, whatever. That defense was only okay. It was really that special season from Jaden Daniels that got them to 12 wins. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure we're as far away as from even on this game as some think.
Yeah.
If anything, Jaden Daniels was my favorite quarterback in the draft. So this is actually one of those, I think, going into Washington, I see it being one of those, whoever gets the ball last wins type of games. And I think Jaden Daniels is that guy. Not that I don't think Bo Nix isn't that guy, because I think Bo Nix is that guy too.
Yeah.
But so what Jared is saying is is this going to be our, Allen versus Mahomes? I think it very well could be. And I think this is another 50-50 game. But I'm not sure Denver wins this one.
Yeah, and to Ken's point, I want to bring that back up real quick here. I'll do it again. I think I have access. Here we go. All right, so I want to bring this back up, and I think yes, I get it, right? Yeah, and David mentioned it. The strength of schedule for the NFC is not but Jaden Daniels is a winner, and there's sometimes it's really hard to calculate and look at in those close games, regardless of the players you're playing or the team you're playing. You're playing in the NFL. Can you drive the ball down and win the game? And he showed time and time again that he could. And that's what impresses me the most about Jaden Daniels, regardless of the strength of schedule or who he was playing. When the ball was put in his hands and said, "You have 2 minutes to go win this game," he did it. And yes, there was a couple, extra special Hail Marys against the Bears, right? And that's why I think about it, right? Like the Bears weren't a great team, and he had to do a Hail Mary against them, and it worked out great. And that's when Bo Nix lost the Offensive Rookie of the Year for the game. But in general, I think that when you have a guy like that on your team, that you put the game in your hands and say, "Go win this game for us." I don't care who you're playing; he can do it, and that's why I like him. And I think that he's going to be a great player in this league for a long time, as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah, I don't think he's going away anywhere anytime soon.
This is a Broncos pod, but Jaden Daniels did go into Ford Field and basically punk one of the better teams all season last year, and looked like in complete control the entire time. So
and to the point of being a simple offense, it's okay to have a simple offense if you've got a guy who can just legitimately do basic quarterback stuff really well.
You don't need to be fancy. Yeah,
no,
you don't need to be fancy.
They don't need to scheme it up for him because he can do all of these things at an elite level. So, we'll see. Anything can happen in a second season. We thought CJ Stroud was going to be the next huge thing, and he had kind of a slump. Offensive line was terrible there, but anything can happen. That's why you play the game on Sundays, right?
Well, and if you look at our schedule, I think we don't play the Bills, but outside of the Bills, we play every top quarterback in this league this season. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking about defense that wins championships and the difference is defense, that is why we built our defense, is because we're playing Patrick Mahomes twice, we're playing Kyle Herbert twice, we're playing Eagles. I can't think of his name right now. Jalen Hurts, and we're playing Jaden Daniels. Like, we're playing the top quarterbacks in this league, and Joe Burrow. We're playing the top quarterbacks in this league this year, and I think our secondary is up for the challenge. And I think what it comes down to, and this is all going to rest on the end of it, and I'll probably save this for the end, but I won't. It's going to be on Bo Nix. Bo Nix is going to need to have a hell of a year, because our defense is going to need to stop these quarterbacks, and I think they will to an extent. But we need to be able to put points on the board.
For sure.
Look, guys, circle November 30th on your calendar. Not just because it's my birthday. I mean, that is the main reason. But also, this game is going to be a big one for the Broncos and really defining who this team is, how much of a step forward that this team has taken this year.
The Denver Broncos have promised 𝐍𝐸𝐷an, guys. This is behind the scenes knowledge here that we don't really share a lot of this, but the Denver Broncos have promised 𝐍𝐸𝐷an that if they beat the Washington Commanders on his birthday, he will grow 6 inches. That will be his birthday present. So yeah,
it's going to be awesome.
No, Jared, put your hands down.
The contract was more. It wasn't written well, so it's going to be 6 inches in the belly.
Well, it is right after Thanksgiving and then right before Christmas. So
this is the time of year where I start drinking beer. So.
Now,
maybe.
Guys, we've got just a few minutes left, I guess, allegedly. However, we're at the Raiders, and I don't know that we need to talk about this too far.
I already did.
Yeah, we kind of know what the opponent is and what we're going to be getting out of that game. So at the Raiders. It's not a short week game or anything like that. Sunday afternoon game. It'll be, I think, a reasonable challenge, not like oh man, what a quirk of the schedule that has given us a decided disadvantage here. It'll be fun. Yeah. So let's bounce to
the only thing.
Go ahead.
The only thing I'll say about going into the as we go into December, right? We're talking about December games.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the Raiders in Allegiant Stadium, weather not a factor, right? We're talking about a dome. We're good. Green Bay at home. Yeah, home field. Obviously, we'll be at home field, but weather's a factor. Then we'll talk We'll get to these in a minute. Jacksonville and Kansas City. So, and then the Chargers. So we are finishing the season 3 games at home, and one of them at Kansas City, which is going to be a tough one. We'll talk about that in a minute. But that's amazing. And then weather's not going to be a problem in Las Vegas. I think this is going to be a great end of the season for the Broncos, and a great idea of going into as we're making a playoff push at this point, depending on as the divisional and AFC shape up at the end.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it definitely is going to be a little bit of a different close to the season than last year, right? Where you had that Chargers and Chiefs and Bengals and all of that right at the end there. Yeah.
Well, I think by this point of the season, when they're pulling up the race for the playoffs and the playoff bracket and everything, you're going to see the Broncos vying for the AFC West spot. It's not going to be a question of are they going to maybe squeeze into that 7th wild card spot. It's going to be, are they, the AFC West champions, or are they like the number 5, seed? Where it's like we're in the playoffs. It's still very meaningful football, but it's going to be a different feel than last year, where it was like, we have got to do this, otherwise we're out of the playoffs. It's going to be a look, we're in, but what is it going to look like?
Yeah,
right. Yeah, for sure. All right, Broncos Packers. Jordan Love comes to town. Could be. I mean, I think that's going to be a great game. Like, I really think that's going to be. It's going to be a close game either way. I seems to me like one of the more 50-50 games that we've got on the schedule. But man, I'm really looking forward to that matchup.
Yep. In Denver, I think the defense comes away with a win.
Mm-hmm.
From the schedule, that the Broncos have gotten a lot of those QB matchups of just Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Jordan Love, Bo Nix, Pat Mahomes twice. So yeah, this is another one of those games where it looks like they're kind of as a showcase game a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what the weather is going to be like on the 15th of December in Colorado. Right, this could be a completely different game, and schedule and where the teams are at that point. Like a lot of it's injury history, right? Like a lot of this is as we get towards the end of these games, it's a little harder to talk about because you don't really know the feel of the NFL at this point. And yeah, I mean, I think Jordan Love's a good quarterback as well. And like Adam was saying, we've got some of the hardest quarterbacks in the season this year. And it's just another one of those. And if they come into town, I think we could do it at home for sure.
Yeah.
Well, moving to week 16, I think this is a good game to set us up for the last 2, which are going to be very tough. But this is a game, Jaguars coming to Denver. It's going to be probably at least cold. You could probably surmise. And so I think this is a game where, again, the Broncos just dominate, come away with another win.
The return to Travis Hunter to Colorado.
Yep. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yep. It'd be big in that regard. Lots of Travis Hunter jerseys that day, I'm sure.
That there will be.
It's also Mark Ingram, or not Mark Ingram. Ingram.
Ingram. Yeah.
Evan
Yeah.
Ingram.
Yeah.
Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram.
Revenge game,
I don't know
yeah.
why. Who's Mark Ingram? Why do I have Mark Ingram? He's a running back.
Saints running
Yeah,
back, I think, from a while ago.
Yeah. So Evan Ingram also going against his old team too. So I think that's going to be an interesting game, at least from the politics, I guess, side of it, or the look of it. I think that'll be a fun game to watch. But I do think I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be at Week 16 anywhere near the top, and I think that's a game that we win.
Yeah,
Jared's former team.
It is, yeah. Big fan of it in high school.
Yep. All right, guys.
Well,
I think
Adam.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
go for it. Go for it, David.
Oh, I only have one take about Broncos Chiefs. So if Adam
Sure,
has an
we've already-
actual on the field matchup to talk about, I am more than willing to cede the floor here because mine is not that.
I mean, it's Christmas Day. I remember Dontari Poe throwing a BS touchdown and everybody losing their
This is not the
mind
on-field
over.
take that I wanted to hear, Adam.
I mean, it gives me PTSD just thinking about it.
does.
But
It does.
this again, this is going to be another one of those. I think, I think it's going to be just a gritty, dirty, nasty, physical in the division. I could easily see this as being like this game is going to be for the AFC West. And I, as a Broncos fan, I love having stakes like that because I believe in this team enough that I want that. I want that game as a competitor. I want that game. So bring it on. Christmas Day, I would love to punk Mahomes on his turf in front of a national audience. And I am way bigger than a toothpick, Gary. I hit a PR in my squat today, man. Come on, don't call me skinny.
Yeah, all 15 pounds. It was great. I watched it.
No, watch it.
Oh,
Yeah, Adam catching strays out here. Woof.
I thought we were on the Javonte Williams thing, man, and now you're
We
coming
were.
with that.
I bounced back and forth. Yeah, David. I'm all over the place.
Okay.
All right. I have
Well,
just one take from this game, and that is Broncos. Hear me when I say you have got to give me that white helmet with the white jersey with the white pants on Christmas. White out uniform. It's going to look slick as hell. Give it to me. Give it to me. I'm worth it.
I'm worth it. I believe that. I think
Jared,
you're
I am worth it.
He's worth it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough. Kansas City is going to be a very tough game, and Christmas. I think Ken brought it up. It couldn't be a more difficult game. All the distractions, all the in Kansas City on Christmas, and it kind of goes back. It's a short week, right? That goes back to that Jacksonville game. Is that a game that we prep very hard for? Probably not, because we're probably focused on making sure we take care of Kansas City on Christmas. But yeah, I don't think we'll get blown out. I think this will be a close game. I really do. I don't think this is going to be one of those games that it gets away from us. I think this is going to be a game that we care about, and it'll be close. And like Adam said, I think this is one of those games. If it's up to the division, this game is going to be one hell of a game. And I think that's what the NFL is hoping for on Christmas.
Super Dave knows where it's at. Also, I'm calling my spot right now. Broncos win this game. Done.
Okay. That would be huge. That would be absolutely huge.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about hearing all of Colorado just go crazy at once on Christmas night. It would be from that. Anyway, we're wrapping up the season, guys. Week 18 already. It's going to go by that fast during the regular season, I'm sure. But Chiefs or the Chargers at home. Again, important game to end the season. Well, we're not going to know what it's going to look like based off seeding and what this game means. We could be in a position somehow, guys, where this game is meaningless for us. If the cards fall our way, which think about that. The Broncos ending the season with a throwaway game because they're set. They're ready for they're looking for the playoffs at that point. You know what I mean? Jared's like, I don't think so.
Okay. Two things. I'll get to that point in a minute. I'm gonna give you pause to take that back. But real quick, Jose, yes, the game will be on Amazon Prime on Christmas. That is the only place that they're showing that game. David, yes.
Unless you live in Kansas City or Denver, then you will be able to watch it on local channels. Go ahead, Jared.
Oh,
yes.
Ooh, fancy.
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Cool. All right, so no, Kev. So, are you saying that we're going to do so well this season, we're going to take the number 1 spot, and nobody could take the number 1 seed from us?
Plant your flag now,
at
Kevin.
this point in the season.
Courage now.
It's very possible. Yeah.
No, very possible. Just say yes.
Oh,
I was really hoping for a stronger stance here.
Be a man.
I was hoping for a stronger stance here.
Be a man.
Yes.
All right. Hey, if we're at this point and we beat Kansas City to take the number 1 spot, nobody can take it away from us. Even Kansas City, Buffalo, the Ravens. If none of those people can take it away from us, and we for some reason secure the number 1 spot, I don't even care. We're partying for weeks. Like, we're gonna be there. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think we're gonna be in a spot where we can either get the 8th seed or the 7th seed, or we get the 4th seed or the 5th seed, right? Like,
I got David on my side. I got Super Dave. I got Super Dave, Jared. You don't have Super Dave.
You're right. You're right.
Regular Dave.
Thank you, Super Dave. You got my back, man.
I got Jacob. This isn't my take, for the record. This isn't my take. I just was trying to get somebody on my side. But yeah, I don't see us winning and being the number 1 seed at this point in the season. Not where we are. I mean, second year of rebuild. I think Bo Nix is good enough, but we're going to make the playoffs. I think this is going to be the difference between 15 to 16. I think they put this on purpose, the 2 games at the end of the season, Chargers and Chiefs.
Very much
because they know that the AFC West, and those are the 3 teams that made the playoffs last year, and I think they know it's going to be closer than it was last season. And those are going to be the 2 games and the 3 teams that are going to decide the playoff rankings and where everybody falls. And that's really why this is there in that. And that's why it's a to be determined game, because it's probably going to get flexed to a night game if both teams are playing for either spot.
That's a good point.
A spot, or to completely adjust the rankings. Because if they throw it on a Monday night and they say, okay, we're going to do this Monday night, and if the Broncos win, here's what the playoff picture looks like. If the Chargers win, here's what the playoff picture looks like. And that's really what they're going to try to do with that. So, or the Chargers don't make it at all, and they just flex us to a mid-afternoon game on a Sunday.
That's the Chargers, and the Chargers do love the Charger.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, guys, we're going to go through our closing thoughts here in a minute, and that will include our final record predictions for the season. We're going to lock them in here and now, so guys, get ready for it because it's coming around to you here soon. But don't forget, everyone, Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, we are live with Bourbon, Broncos, and No BS. We got some 30-minute shows between now and preseason, but we'll be live every Tuesday night nonetheless, and preseason is going to be here before you know it. Training camp's right around the corner, all that stuff. It's going to be going on. It's going to be a fun time. We got a ton of stuff planned for you guys this year. It's our 10th anniversary. We've already announced that if/when the Broncos hit 10 wins, because I don't want to jinx anything, we will be giving away 3 Bo Nix jerseys, and we'll be getting some information on how to sign up for that prize drawing when that happens. So get ready for it, guys. Like I said, there's going to be a ton of prizes, a ton of giveaways. We're going to have a blast this season, watching this team do incredible things and having some fun time watching football for the first time in a long time. I mean, last year was just a taste, guys. Last year was just a taste. I think this year's going to be even better. So let's go around the horn and get some season predictions. Jared, buddy, co-founder.
So I'm going to double down on your 3 Bo Nix jerseys. If we get 10 wins and RJ Harvey has over, let's say, 700 yards rushing at the point of 10 wins, I will throw in an RJ Harvey. I will give David one. I will buy David one, and I'll buy one for for a fan. If he can have at 10 wins have over 700 yards rushing.
It's a parlay.
Like the throwback jersey, please, Jared.
You don't get to choose, David.
Yes, I
get to choose for you.
Okay. What if he gets you choose if he hits 700 yards. If he hits 1,000 yards from scrimmage, not just rushing yards, 1,000 yards from scrimmage this year, I get to choose. How about that?
At the 10-win mark.
Yes, and 10 wins. Yes, combine it.
So say we're 10-3. You think in 13 games, RJ Harvey's going to have 1,000 yards?
Oh, see, okay, no, this is a little complicated now. You're trying to drum up the works here.
No, I said at the 10-game mark. So the day we hit 10 wins, I'm going to look at his rushing yards and say, how many rushing yards does he have?
Okay. All right. Okay. No, I'm with you. Oh, all right. Sounds good. Yeah. 1,000. If he's at 1,000 yards by the time they hit 10 wins, let's go, Jared.
Okay, let's do this.
All
All right. No, I do think we're going to end up. I think 12-5 is actually a pretty decent number. 12-5, 11-6. I don't want to. I'll go 12-5 because orange and blue goggles. I'm going to go 12-5. I think that the Broncos can do it. I think we're going to take away some games that we shouldn't, and I think we're going to drop one that we should. And so I think we're going to drop one to somebody, whether it be the Jaguars or the Cowboys or somewhere along the line. We're going to drop one that we should not have dropped. But I do think we're going to take away some big games. I think we're going to take the Bengals. I think we're going to take away Kansas City at least once, if not twice. I think we sweep the Raiders, and I think there's a good chance that by the end of the season we sweep the Chargers as well. So I'm going to go 12-5.
Okay, David, what you got, buddy?
Well, Jared just took my 12-5, and I thought I was going to be kind of bold
take that
by planting that flag. So no, now I've got to go a little bit further. 13-4, baby.
Oh,
it's happening.
I'll take that with you.
It's happening. It's I love the second year of Sean Payton. I love the second year of Bo Nix with Sean Payton. I love, you guys know my feelings about RJ Harvey. I actually think Pat Bryant has a really good chance to,
if he gets cooking, if he gets going
in his first year. And, I think you get some growth from the second year receivers, maybe not both, maybe one or the other of Troy Franklin and Devon Vele really gets going this year. But either way, I'm smelling 13 wins on the air.
Lucky
the
13.
nose.
That's right.
The nose.
Right. Lucky 13.
Okay, Adam. You going to bring us down?
No. We're all about vibes here. We are all about vibes. And I have a special reason to have good vibes about this season. For one, I think 12-5. I try to go in the middle, not too high, not too low. I think that is probably going to be the median for this season. Call me a homer, call me off, whatever. It'll be true, but I think it's 12-5. The other thing that I am super excited about, my little boy said, "Dad, where do the Broncos play?" And I said, "They play at Mile High, Hito." Why? Because I want to watch a game with you, Dad.
Yep.
Let's do it.
That's a
and
win.
My heart exploded inside my chest, and I went,
Joy.
We're gonna make that happen, son. We're gonna make that
happen. Yeah.
So I will be. My son will be joining me at the cathedral that is Mile High Stadium, and he will be. I hope that the magic of Mile High just captures him on that day as well.
We're gonna have to get Super Dave a puffball hat, but yes, I love that. I love that, Adam. Hell yeah! Make sure you
time out. Super Dave. We gotta ask this. Appreciate you joining us, and we really do appreciate you being here, regardless of your first name. So I do think that you need to answer a question for us. I'm not wearing one. However, would you prefer a puffball hat, which is super warm in the winter but way too hot in the summer, or a visor to show off your amazing head of hair that I'm sure you have? I'll wait for your answer while Kevin
he has in his picture.
Dave.
Yeah, it's a great head of hair. He's got a great head of hair. Why would he hide it, Dave?
There's no reason.
There's a good reason, and I think he will reveal it momentarily.
Yes. We'll see if he does while I go through this. And look, I think the ceiling for the Broncos, Jose thinks 14 wins. I think it was Clayton earlier said 15 wins, or Jose said 15 wins. I think that's a bit too much. I think for the Broncos, though, they're pretty much going to exceed almost all expectations. I think 13-4, right there on money, walking away with some wins. Yep. So there you go.
Super Dave, welcome.
Super Dave's not a super anymore. Now he's just
he did say puffball. So for the record, I can't find any male puffball hats. It's all female. And I'm okay with this. Super Dave, you have a great head of hair, though. You should show it off more often. I'll get him to turn by the end of the season. Don't worry.
For years, your argument on this has been based on sexism, and it's ugly. It's an ugly shade on you, Jared. It's an ugly color on you, and I wish you would do a little
very
bit
handsome.
Better. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what's not ugly? The Broncos winning 13 games this year. That is not ugly.
13. You're going 13 too, Kev.
I'm going 13. I'm going 13.
Wow.
I talked him into it. He was going to go 12.
I think that Texans game is going to be a win. I think the Broncos go on a winning streak from the Jets all the way through the bye week. It's just going to be beautiful. I think we're going to be doing nothing but winning and winning and winning and winning. And we'll lose to kind of mix it up a little bit, but then we'll go back to winning again. And it's going to be great. So, look, guys, it's Jared's just like, no. Oh, dude.
It's okay. Super Dave, I understand. You got peer pressured. You felt bad for Jared.
Again.
You felt bad for Jared. There are no members of Team Visor at the moment.
Yes, there are.
Yes, there are. It's not peer pressure. It's just your turn. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in tonight. All your comments, your questions. We have a lot more to talk about as the offseason goes along. We got some rule changes that are being voted on this next week, so we're going to wait to see what happens there. And we're starting looking at these players and what is this roster going to look like, and who's going to make the cut, because we got a lot of talent on this team right now. So keep tuning in every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time and get ready for the season, because it's going to be right here around the corner. So Jared, Adam, David, you guys are fantastic as always. Thanks for tuning in, or thanks for joining me and helping out and giving your thoughts. And again, to everybody tuning in, you're awesome. So we're going to end it here, guys. Whoo-wee. I got nothing left to say other than to end this, as we always do, on a very strong Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Take care, everyone. We will see you next time.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sip and go, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know I'm a pro.